All right, this is the May 27, 2026 Mount Lebanon Resiliency Board meeting. Calling this to order, roll call.
Rick Saber.
Jim Betts.
Grace Robb.
Jeff Sigler.
Greg Wharton, staff.
Colin Scoleri.
John Rombold.
Chet
Wade. Kirill Drummond.
John vote. Next on their, first off is the meeting minutes. I think they were distributed earlier. Does anybody have any comments on the minutes? If not, entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Next is citizen comments. So, see, if members would like to make comments, if you can keep it to 3 minutes, that would be great. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Herman. I've been a Mount Lebanon resident for 30 years. I've been an environmental regulator and litigator for more than that. Over the last few months, I've appeared before the board on a couple times to ask the Mount Lebanon to consider ways to reduce noise and pollutional impacts associated with gasoline-powered leaf blowers. I provided research showing that gas blowers are very polluting and sound about twice as loud as electric blowers and gas lawnmowers. I've described what other municipalities have done to limit these impacts. I've shared information about Lower Marion Township, a township outside of Philadelphia, which conducted an extensive study and passed an actual ban on this equipment. And I've asked Mount Lebanon to consider this and the board to consider recommending it. For anyone new to the board, I'm sure Greg or Eric can provide that resource information and the research to you that I've shared in the past. At the board's February meeting, the Sustainability Subcommittee reported that it was not recommending a ban on these devices, though I don't believe there was a discussion of more limited options. I'm here tonight to respectfully ask the subcommittee or the full board to revisit the issue and consider whether there may be practical, measured steps short of a full ban that could help address residents' concerns while remaining workable for the township, homeowners, and landscapers alike. For example, the township could permit gas-powered leaf blowers during the heavier spring and fall cleanups, while limiting their use during the summer months when residents open their windows and enjoy their backyards, or establish limits on their use during weekends, afternoon and evening hours, or establish an educational and incentive program. At the February meeting, the subcommittee expressed concerns about the ban's possible enforcement difficulties for municipal staff and police. However, Mount Lebanon already handles other quality of life issues, such as barking dog complaints at Municipal Code 3-901, through a complaint-based process. A complaint from a neighbor triggers one or more letters focused on education and voluntary compliance. Leaf blower prosecution, like dog barking prosecutions, would be extremely rare, and if necessary, neighbors who complain would be the witnesses. This has worked effectively in many communities, and if it would help, I would be available to compare notes with your solicitor on how to get this done effectively. As I said, I do this for a living. There are also concerns raised by the subcommittee about potential costs, but use limitations during summer months or weekends would cost the municipality virtually nothing except a few letters. If the commission were to adopt an incentive program, the cost would be limited and predictable. For example, if up to 50 residents a year were reimbursed $50 for replacing their gas blower with an electric blower, this could raise awareness and be useful to gauge community interest. I'd encourage this board to recommend such a pilot program to the commissioners and let them decide whether $2,500 a year could be found in the municipal budget. Finally, I'd encourage the board to consider some form of public outreach or resident feedback process before concluding that this issue is not a concern to the community. I'd suggest that for our residents, their quiet enjoyment of their backyards is a high priority. Other municipalities have undertaken outreach efforts, such as Lower Merion Township, and have found substantial resident interest in reducing leaf blower noise and emissions. Thank you for your time and consideration. I'm here to answer any questions you may have at this time, and Eric has my contact information if you'd like to follow up with me at a later date. Any questions today?
Yeah, Mr. Herman, no questions. I thank you for the information. Certainly happy to continue to consider it. I don't doubt it's an irritation to many people in the community, but as you heard my presentation, at that point, I didn't see enough support for a ban, but I'll certainly be happy to have our subcommittee re-examine it.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming back.
Sure.
I broke my sandal on the walk over here, so that's why I'm limping.
Just be careful.
I'm okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Sam Smith. I'm with Lebo Green. I wanted to come and just reintroduce myself. I know we have some new board members here, so welcome. If you don't know about Lebo Green, we are a citizen group. We've been here for at least 17 years. We run Earth Day, and I wanted to also recognize Paolo for his participation in Earth Day this year. He was part of our mini speaker series and did a wonderful job for us. So we just wrapped that up, and then we have a series of Uptown Market engagements. So we'll be there 3 times this summer. We've got a plant swap coming as we kick it off this Saturday, and we'll also be giving out reusable bags for people to try to keep the plastic bags out of, or keep people from having to give out plastic bags. On June 27th, we've got a plastic-free July kickoff. We do a challenge. We'll also do the reusable bags. And then on August 1st, we've got a clothing swap kind of to get ready for the school year. And I just wanted to also weigh in on John's proposition. I feel like it's a quality of life issue, a very common sense, as you mentioned, I know an irritation, Chet, for sure. And that, like, from the Lebo Green perspective, obviously the emissions are a huge challenge, but the noise is also that. And I wanted to offer our services too. I mean, on the edge, if education is a challenge as well, we're always happy to lend our people power there too to help. So I think, yeah, that's it. And then I think, again, yeah, Eric's got our information, and just wanted to offer to the board too, as you need any help with anything sustainability related. We've got a really great team. So thank you. I'm gonna flop over here, I guess.
Please,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Commission liaison report.
All right, not that this is part of the report, but I also find loud cars and blowers terrible. I mean, I think it is really a quality of life issue, and something I hope we explore more. Just that it's unfortunate that one individual can bother so many other people with their devices. So that being said, last night at Commission we approved funds for improvements at Brafferton and Middle and Seymour Fields. Yeah, we're, I think, going to do some paving and add some spaces, rearrange the fields. We're looking at a trail running up from the back of Brafferton to the neighborhood behind it. Isn't it a possible addition? There was a grant, we approved a grant application for the demolition of the south garage last time for $500,000. So hopefully that's something that we see come in. Continue to see improved commercial district enforcement. So in February, the legislation that came through here about minimum maintenance and sort of commercial district maintenance, facade condition has been working. So hopefully you've seen a lot of scaffolding out around uptown, and yeah, it's working. So we're seeing some additional enforcement, some additional fines and notifications, and a lot of improvements happening. So that's been great. And then finally, I think we had in discussion session last night, we had a conversation with Ian, the planner, somebody from Gateway with traffic engineering about this idea of a right-of-way manager. Just that one of the things that I think has been frustrating from a commissioner's perspective is that, we know that the residents want to see the community become more walkable. We know that people are don't move here because how drivable it is. We realize that, it comes up time and time again that we want to make this community more walk-friendly, more bike-friendly. And that's not necessarily anyone's job on staff. And so I think there's always some challenge in how do we push that forward? Whose job is it? Because it's not Public Works' job necessarily, but and so we're having that discussion of hopefully something that we can include in this year's budget to fund a position that would in essence interact with all the different departments, oversee this idea of, when we take out a road, how do we put it back? Let's put it back different so it makes a lot more sense for people and kind of field those questions and calls and just generally be a point person across the entire municipality on this idea of moving from just being a place where people drive to a lot more walkable friendly. So pretty excited to have that conversation ongoing. That's all I have.
Those are fantastic news. Thank you.
Let's see, the next thing is the vice chair position. Do you have anything on that, Greg? Or?
I know, discussed with Eric that he mentioned that it would be best to move that to that June workshop meeting that we're planning on. Just to hopefully get everyone in attendance at that one, and then also just, I think, put it out there that if anyone would like to step up for the vice chair, it's not like an expansion in responsibility. It's just kind of a stand-in for John if he's not able to make it.
Still have the same salary as before.
Yeah. I mean, if the board wants to move forward tonight in appointing a vice chair, that's
The
not.
call is from the people. We will, this board will listen, but.
If we have 7 members here, so.
Did anyone step up to nominate themselves?
Okay, well, how about if
Eliminate? Yes, I did that.
Well, it said to discuss at the June workshop, so I don't know if the other two would, if any of those ought to be cautious to do it, but again, we can discuss that at the next workshop meeting, so to do that, so. Right.
At least think if you want to do it.
Yeah, if you want to do it, if you're, okay, short of bribery or kidnapping, hope to do it, so. Next is the June workshop area of focus. Topics to be discussed at the upcoming June workshop. Information we use to develop agenda talking points. And I know that this has been a topic that we thought would be add to the board. How we operate and for our benefit. And are there any particular board items, thoughts that you thought would be good for a workshop?
Yeah, I was thinking if Commissioner Ziegler could join us and share priority areas for this group to focus on.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not going to be 100% one-to-one mapping, but it would be good to have that, like, hey, here's what Commission is interested in, what Commission is looking for, so that we can start building our plan for the rest of the year or next 12 months. That, like, different policies we could work on, make progress on different requests. I think that will streamline things that are coming up from us and going all the way to the Commission and getting approved.
Absolutely.
Super interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do that. And it's not in attendance enough quite in the spring to things being busy, but definitely appreciate the chance to sit down and talk over that.
Good. So I think we're going to need to form subcommittees as well.
In preparation for the meeting?
At the meeting.
At the meeting, yeah.
Okay.
I think we need to reshuffle the deck on that. Greg, do you have a list of who's on which committee of the present members now? Actually, maybe easier. Who's ever on a committee now, a subcommittee now, do you want to just indicate to the rest what subcommittee you're on?
I'm historic preservation, but I think there needs to be discussion on what subcommittees we have. Is that one of the
Yes.
things? So
Yes.
like, historic preservation is one of them. It's me right now. And John, I can technically sort of John too.
Jack, you're
Yes, sustainability and environment.
Economic and Business District Committee.
I know that I'm on any, and I know that's been part of the design, but then it's been like, okay, there's add anything else. Well, that could be a discussion whether not so much me personally, but the chair should be on one, because you either have 3, 3, and 2, or you have, someone had made a recommendation, well, do that, but then make it a 10-person board, which I don't know if that would necessitate a change in our bylaws, but the whole idea is not to make this board grow either, so, but that can be something that can be discussed there. Again, whether it's formation of the committees and, where the chair or vice chair go.
We should discuss.
I think something else that we need to do that is sort of, it's connected to that to some degree, is mapping our, how much we overlap or could participate in, work with, get assistance from other community organizations. Because I think there's a lot of obviously like great connections that we have, and see how that perhaps plays into creation of subcommittees, because the partnership is doing a whole lot and stuff, and I know they'll be in conversation with business district, economic development type subcommittees. So sort of mapping out like what community organizations already exist, how can we either fill the void or support them in ways that they can't interact with the municipality or might not be able to yet. I think that's something we can do.
Now that you mentioned that, I was sort of drafted to be on this board because I've been the chair of the Partnerships Economic Vitality Committee for years. And so there is an overlap there. And so I'd like to be on that subcommittee, which is sort of the main point of me being here. There are, partnerships and organizations that can do things on its own, but really in connection with the municipality. We stay separate. Of course, this is the formal advisory board to the commission. So it makes sense for us to overlap and for this board to know what the partnership is doing and vice versa.
Yeah, we had Linda on that subcommittee previously. So
Yeah, I was sort of drafted
appreciate
to
you.
take Linda's
Yes.
place here.
Certainly appreciate you there. I think my high-level hope is that we can sketch our plan for the next 6 to 12 months and what is like the goals we want to achieve and start working towards them. So not like month to month, because like this meeting is more like month to month, what's happening. I don't want to create a long-term plan, like 12-month plan, in that session.
Yeah, I think that it's the one thing that when when this board was formed 2 years ago,
About,
Yeah.
is that we spent the part, I guess, I'll say, like getting to know each other, kind of finding our way, then we did have a year plan. And then when that year's over, it was like, okay, I think part of not only having your plan is either, and this would be like the last point of the 12-month plan, is how do we set things up procedurally so that it's like, okay, it's done, what do we do next? So it's can continue on, or at least the idea, almost like like with you couldn't run budgets that way, obviously, and so that, again, budgeting to think, all right, not from a monetary standpoint, but really, what do we do? What are the plans for the upcoming, the next 12 months? So again, that's just something. First, yes, get what we want together for the next first 12 months, but then after that, just so when it ends, it's not like, okay, the end of the story, that's it. So nice to see the purpose of that. Any other suggestions on there? I mean, what I'll do is I'll send something out to Eric and say, look, these are some of the topics, and in any email, what I'd like is if people want to add things onto it, again, technically we can't debate them or what's about, but if you put the points on, at least I see no harm in this, because again, we're not taking any deliberative action, we're not doing any official action. It's almost like saying we're determining what's going to be on an agenda, which
Yes.
is kind of is not really taking deliberate action. So
Yeah, maybe each of us could suggest things they would want the board to work on. We're not going to take everything, but that's like starting point for the discussion.
yeah, I mean, if it's better to have too much than too little, really, because again, we can prune them or combine things and the like. So it's there's value to that. Anybody else have any other ideas on topics, things on this, on the June workshop, which is it? It will be on the 24th at 6 p.m. and we're talking about making it a 2-hour presentation, yeah.
It's my understanding, yes.
Yeah.
All right. I would just recommend going back to, the document we're supposed to kind of be guided by, the plan, and, because I think there's a lot of stuff still in there to be mined that we can focus on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about topics to add now, or, go to the workshop, but things that immediately come to mind is, the enforcement was discussed. That's sort of the stick, the carrot that the commission has provided, and municipalities runs a facade grant program. In the partnership, we've started to try to promote that to specific, storefront business owners and building owners. We've also sort of identified, and some of it came in some of these roundtables with the zoning presentations. I wound up going to 3 of them. Was also, the need for other programs that within the partnership we're trying to look at to see, is there money available not just for the facade, but for some of these other buildings? Buildings are old. Some of them have turned over ownership, and maybe the new owner is looking for, really is motivated now to do something, but the funds aren't there. And because some of these buildings, just not much has been, the facades are actually the good part. You get into the deeper of them, nothing's happened in 50 years. So these are things that, we're starting to work on. And there are some various programs that other people, I'm not an expert at this, other people have told me. Maybe it's grants, maybe it's other money, maybe it's money that comes through the partnership, but becomes available to building and business owners. The business owners tend to complain that they want to have great looking spaces, but they're not getting enough help. And sometimes the complaint is the municipality is too hard on them. But I'm bringing up a whole bunch of it, but those are the sort of initiatives that are going on with respect to, Uptown. And Uptown is really the charge of the partnership, but we also have looked at Beverly over time. Beverly thrives. And then now Mount Lebanon Boulevard I've gotten, as I've broadened out a little bit and talked to people, they feel like the stepchild that does not get any benefit of the special programming. So that's something I think we have to look at as well.
Sure. Happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments?
I would just say overall, generally, like in terms of formulating that plan, having very measurable points as opposed to just big ideas. Something that we could, yes, we did this, or 50% done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking about maybe looking at recommendations we've made or discussions we've had and seeing where have we gotten action-wise? Have we only made a recommendation? Have we made a recommendation and this community organization went forward with it, sort of looking, holistically at how much have we done, where can we expand there?
On doing something, in doing something like that, should we rely, really on Eric to say, okay, because they better have a good idea of what we've done before and what we've progressed to do on doing that. Would that be fair to ask them to?
I think so. I don't know if that's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
and if we think of how many things we have actually made motions to recommend in our meetings, it hasn't been that many things, right? So a lot of them haven't made it past, some have only ever existed in the discussion sphere.
Yeah.
Some things have made it to the recommendation level, and maybe the commission or municipality or another organization has taken action on those things. And I'm guessing is the bulk is just discussion. So I can't imagine there's that many things. And I think it would be pretty easy to find what we've actually made recommendations on and to go to the commission with.
Yeah, I only have 2 that come to mind.
Yeah.
Probably handful.
Any other points? Paula, any?
Nope.
You have good ideas. I appreciate what reports you make, so.
Thank you.
I think at some point there's gonna be a role, you know, the last meeting, which is the first one I attended, was the zoning presentation. That's all a work in process, but there will be a role for this committee to advise on sort of some of the things within our charge that are affected by zoning and not. It's kind of a fluid presentation, and there's a committee within the partnership of experts on that sort of thing, coming up with their recommendation. There's the consultant that the municipality has hired, whose business is to do that, who I think is you know, in the process, or maybe it's completed the sort of surveying of the community, and now going back and starting to draft things. But I think there will be a role for this board, you know, thumbs up or thumbs down on particulars with respect to zoning.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's going to be a lot of advice sought from this body and you know, additional input. And I know a few weeks back, it was interesting. We kind of an advisory on that, met with them, and it was really fascinating to get down detail with like what should this look like? What, you know, what's I mean, just looking at this, there's a lot of different, I'm sure you all went through this last, when you were at the last meeting with them, but yeah, there's a lot of different areas, a lot of different places that are zoned wildly different that, you know, pretty complicated. So it was really cool to go through and hear the expertise on, you know, what we could do to simplify it and densify and, you know, just to get more of what's good in the neighborhood and a little bit less of what's not good. And so I'm interested to see how that comes together, but certainly there'll be a lot of room for this body to weigh in.
And how strict do we need to stay towards our current committees? Like if we have this workshop and we're in there and we find that there's, you know, 4 or 5 economic development points that we really want to hit on, and, you know, 1 or 2 maybe, you know, sustainability or whatever. Like, can you have more, you know, groups more focused on individual items as compared to the committees we're on now? Or are we kind of tied to having these 3 committees?
So we could create different subcommittees. We could divide.
That, or yeah, just
development
base it on actual individual action items
Yeah.
instead of like broken up into
Absolutely.
committees.
Don't limit yourself.
It's
Right.
for example, you know, we talked 2 years ago when we had the comprehensive plan kind of in front of us. We thought, what can we look at? And, you know, the climate action plan that's being done in 2030, obviously we don't need a subcommittee to be studying the climate action plan right now. Now, when 2030 comes around, it might be best to have a subcommittee that's dedicated to just that. And like with right now, we have things moving with the South Garage. That was one of the ones we had. The zoning update, it's kind of all in, I don't want to say it's in your balls in your court, but if it's something that you may think that it may be better to have 2 subcommittees or, you know, kind of the 3 standing subcommittees and then 1 kind of ad hoc that kind of comes and goes and saying, hey, the zoning update's happening right now. We can have people who want to do the zoning update. But it's really just kind of like, these are guidelines. Like the resiliency chapter is a guideline to what this board is all about. We can stay within the guidelines, but we can kind of bounce around. But that's really all up to what the board desires, so.
And I think there's a lot of value in ad hoc subcommittees. You know, like this is obviously the Frankenstein advisory board as it is, and which makes it cumbersome. But I think if there's one particular project that's of interest, then yeah, it makes sense to put something together around that. And we're not confined to just the people on this advisory board that could, you know, make up an ad hoc subcommittee.
And these 3 committees are really based because they were the former boards, correct?
Yeah, that naturally kind of flowed from there. I can't think of that, there any big debate on should it be X or Y, I think it kind of fell into that.
It mapped our plan as well. There's like roughly 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 structure.
Okay. Any other topics we want to maybe pursue for our June meeting? Going on to the subcommittees themselves, Economic Business District Committee. I don't know who's.
committee of one.
You're the committee.
Down to one.
We've always had this debate, is committee one subject to the Sunshine Act?
So yeah, I don't have any updates. I'll have some updates on the ecology and sustainability, observations, personal observations, but nothing on the
I'm
economic.
happy to join you for a committee of two, but I have no updates.
We can have our first meeting after this.
Happy to join the meeting.
Thank you.
Historic preservation,
Nothing.
and 10 minutes, okay, so you have 9 minutes and 45 seconds now, Phil. Sustainability and Local Ecology Committee.
I don't think I've had a chance to update the whole board on Hidden Hollow.
No,
I've talked to you for a while. So a few months ago, Eric and I, at the direction of the municipal manager, presented the Hidden Hollow proposal to the Recreation and Parks, or Parks and Recreation, I was with that backwards, board. They liked the concept, but they were not enamored with the location. The acreage that's adjacent to the golf course, two things that they would like to reserve that for. One is they are considering whether the course should move to electric golf carts. And if that's the case, that requires a larger building, a bigger footprint, more golf carts, et cetera. And I believe that topic is on the discussion agenda, will be on the discussion agenda eventually for the commissioners. I've seen that come up. The other thing, and the one that takes more land, would be to use basically the rest of that site for a golf education and practice area. Something that, from my just research, looks like it's been discussed for probably at least the last 20 years, off and on. It's been sometimes formally reviewed, sometimes not. I couldn't find it on any of the existing master plans for either the parks in general or the golf course. But that does seem to be a topic that the Parks and Recreation, or Recreation and Parks Committee is interested in. They did later suggest a site for a nature reserve or preserve or restoration south, I think it's south end of the main park, up on a hill behind, I guess, the rec center and the pool, which I have walked around. It's partially treed. In fact, I think recently the municipality has actually added a few trees up there. A site that is possible, I would guess, I'm not an expert in that area, for some kind of restoration or preservation. They also suggested, they gave me the name of someone who was interested in establishing an exercise trail through that area. Now, the site, the master plan has that set up actually as a disc golf course, which is one of the reasons we never really considered it. It had already been spoken for in the master plans. I don't know how firm that plan is. It is possible to combine the two uses. It does add additional management work. One of the things we liked about Hidden Hollow was it was a site that was completely passive. There was no additional labor for the municipality, no additional cost. And is a larger site and had the riparian benefits that this other site does not have, but doesn't mean that any site that we couldn't improve is a good thing. So I have sent an email to the fellow who proposed the exercise course, have not heard back from him, so I'll follow up with that. So I don't know, Eric was I haven't talked to him to say, okay, where does this stand with the commission? And then Jeff can tell us whether that's ever gonna rise. Or the Hidden Hollow plan will rise, or maybe it's going to not go anywhere because of the desire to keep the land for the course, and that's a commission decision.
Yeah, and it's tough to say. I don't know, the appetite for the electric golf carts. I mean, it certainly would be beneficial in a lot of ways, but I also don't like the idea of taking up more land that it could be sort of preserved and improved. So I don't know where sort of anything stands with that. I don't even know when we're kind of dealing with that next.
I just see it on the list of items to come onto the agenda, but I didn't see a date. The last agenda I saw, anyway.
Yeah.
But it is on the prospective list.
Okay. That is a big discussion that we do need to have, one or the other on that, and then push forward on something, because I don't know where other members stand on that. And then as far as the disc golf course, that hasn't been discussed. I mean, we got the presentation on the Master Parks plan, but also hasn't been discussed for quite a bit. It needs to come back up to see, where, if we're ready to fund some of that, so.
Well, I mean, we're ready at any time. This is a, as I think I like to hear me say, we have less than no authority. So, we're always happy to provide, insight and information, but, we wait whatever the commissioners.
Yeah, I'm noticing it's easy for things to like, to get kicked down the road a little bit, and just because there's a lot of different moving parts, but those are things that I would like to see come up to the forefront.
I mean, the problem I see maybe, without dwelling on this too much, with like the other suggestions, well, if I have a park and the golf course is part of the park, I naturally don't want to see it go to something passive because that takes something away. Right now at the golf course, the electric carts, but right now it's what, gas or what? Okay. And why would that, just for charging stations?
I believe so.
You have to keep the electric carts indoors, so you'd have to house those carts
Even
inside.
though the
And they need
bank is
more.
pretty steep.
Well, they need more carts because of the charging time. I've heard their
Somebody who has a
presentation.
garden there at the community gardens, like, I know that area, it's like pretty, there's a lot of runoff, like it's sort of steeper.
Yeah, well,
You have to build it
I
up.
mean, I don't know the exact, and you'll probably eventually get the president. I mean, at some point they would have to, I'm sure there's a way to build to expand it. You would have to maybe do some fill or whatever, I don't know. But I think they believe, and I hate to speak for them, I don't want to speak for them, but they do have a plan that says, this is how they would accomplish it. I haven't seen the details of that.
I mean, that's one thing. The other one is like the golf rec center.
The rec center's
I
getting
mean, expanding for golf lessons. I think there are places, Cool Springs, things like that offer that, Scallies. It sounds great, but I don't even know if from a marketing perspective, whether that's going to be, again, they're talking about then more investment, by the municipality to keep something like that running. And, I don't know, it's like, it's easy to say we can never have this passive use because, well, there's always ideas.
Right, to the point it's been 20 years, I mean, I've been,
Yeah,
it's
well,
2.5 years and I hadn't heard that, so.
I just did some research looking back, and there was actually a consultant hired at one point. And that goes, like I said, I found it back as far as 20 years, maybe it goes even further than 20 years, I don't know.
What about the land off McNeely?
The park,
Yeah, it's been the,
I mean, I haven't spent a lot of time there, but what we were looking at, I don't know if you're familiar with where the Hidden Hollow site is because you weren't on so do you know the golf course site? And then when you come up in there, and when you're at the parking lot, and you kind of look off to the right, there's a valley down in there. That land is municipal land. And that's the area we looked at, based on some folks from the Nature Conservancy came and actually helped. They were the ones who initially presented the idea to come in and do some plantings to kind of restore that area and to protect. There's a small stream area there, a riparian area, protect that better, make it more of a preserve rather than an active park. Just as a way to increase the tree canopy, to increase biodiversity, those kinds of things. So that's what we had presented, and I'll be happy to I don't know if I have your, I guess maybe I have your email addresses, but to send to you the presentation that Eric and I made to this board and then later to the Recreation Board.
I think as far as McNeely goes, I know I'd spoken to someone about this because I was on the Parks Board whenever they were trying to think of ways to integrate that land. And I don't know if there was someone who I think really knew about the history and the like, and the problems is, again, access to the point off of McNeely, what to do with the property involved, the investment that would be required of that, and pretty much it was. I think what happened was the municipality, for whatever reason, bought it. They had government money to pay for it, and you really can't give it back. Or you do so at the peril of the government saying, well, if you did this, then, you're not going to get any more grants for these things, so.
no,
And I think that site's already pretty well wooded, isn't it not?
it is. I mean, I know there was plans a long time ago for like trying to make it soccer fields or something,
right.
and there's just so much money.
That's right. I think that from the recreation side of people are pretty passionate about their fields in the community, and I think that there was a strong desire, like, let's make more, but I think that on the other side, people realize, like, it's not very connected to you know, much that's it's out of the way, and it doesn't, you know, it kind of, that's sort of counteractive to other priorities that I think the community has too about, you know, trying to be more connected and walkable. So I think that is sort of in limbo right there with the two different factions about, you know, are we the best recreation community, or are we trying to be a walkable community?
I mean, the argument that is Mount Lebanon territory. So, you know, it's Mount Lebanon, it's good to walk in as long as it's, because people have this idea of Mount Lebanon being somewhere around the churches and going down to the Galleria, but not really up the other side, because that's not walkable. And then going, again, there's a certain idea what Mount Lebanon is and really what the boundaries are. And, but yeah, it was, if we could somehow swing a creative deal or find some benefactor who wants to build a park. But when I was on Parks and Rec, there were complaints about that. And I said, look, if you're, you know, people want to go there. And it was like, well, if you're, you know, your daughter's on the 6th grade travel soccer team, and that's where their field is, guess what they're going to be playing? So.
And so that's the only news we have on that, and we'll continue to, you know, based on the request tonight, you know, we'll spend some time revisiting, is there something we can do about gas powered blowers, et cetera. I mean, they certainly are noisy, they certainly are polluting. You know, if there's ways to encourage people to move that way, you know, I'm more of a carrot than a stick person. You know, I'd be happy to do that. The same, you know, some of the other topics that have been brought to us is we will continue to think about creative ways, and whether it's promoting more elimination of single-use bags. All those things are not bad things. We just haven't figured out a way to make them work in a way that works for Mount Lebanon, I guess, is what we're trying to do. But that, I'm happy to keep using my bags over and over.
I mean, as far as tree canopy, does it have to be like public land? Like, I've had 6 trees taken around my house, like from neighbors. No one ever replants. Is there anything that Mount Lebanon would do to incentivize, you know, when you have to cut down an 80-year-old tree to replant? Like, or would they not get involved in
No,
something
those
like
discussions have been had. I mean, we understand that there's the public trees and also the private trees, and that there's a lot of benefit in both, and there's probably, you know, and it's, I don't know, you know, Commissioner Flynn has been more engaged on the tree topic, but I think it would make a lot of sense to look at ways to try to get some that are lost on private property to put back for sure.
But while we have you here, I know there was also a presentation to the board as a consultant on a tree canopy. I don't think you wanted to give any summary out of that presentation, other than what I got out of it is we're going to see a lot of pin oaks.
Yeah, gosh, I have to think back to that conversation. That was that we need, basically was we need to put more resources to it, that we're not considering the amount of municipal trees that we have, that we're not staffed enough to really manage it and to get out better out of it. So that is something that's going to come up in budget. And then another interesting thing that came out of that is this, I think the same consultant on an earlier visit, that because of the high deer population, trees aren't really repopulating the forested areas like they're meant to. So we're going to have some issues there unless we kind of figure out how to see some new growth. So is everything. There's all kinds of problems.
If you and Eric want to look at it, you could look at Iroquois Park. It's pretty much a single basketball court and nothing else. And Painters Run runs right through it, so.
And I was just reading about an effort to which park's the one that's just getting the reforesting effort? Just something came from municipality.
Twin Hills? No.
But I think, Iroquois, I think there was a question about, is that the one that has a large flat area? That there was some question about whether that wanted to be preserved for recreation use.
It's not really flat.
And
It's somewhat flat. There's like a little, it's like right next to the Galleria.
Right.
There's a
Oh,
basketball,
that's Iroquois.
yeah, there's a basketball court and there's like a jungle gym.
Right. It's almost a parklet, it's very small.
Small, yeah.
Well, it stretches all the way up to almost the Galleria, so it is, there is a big, large space that they cut grass.
Right.
Public Works is out there cutting grass for basically a park no one's using.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I've been through that, but I didn't remember that was the one that's Iroquois. I've been through it.
I want to bring up a few topics.
We're just gonna.
For ecology.
We're gonna take over the meeting, John, don't worry. You can just take.
So yeah, three topics.
Sure.
One on municipal cars. So I saw there were recently 2 cars procured for municipality. And they were combustion engine cars, SUV, questionable MPG. When I look at the plan, we talk about fully electric. It's 2026, gas is expensive, and we're burning gas, sending carbon out. What's going on? It's not 90s, we can be having hybrids.
Well, and within the master plan, there is a component that says that, begin conversion of the municipal vehicle fleet to electric vehicles. Now, they may not necessarily say they all have to be electric, but but there could be some, policy recommendation we could have in terms of minimizing the environmental impact and maximizing the benefit of vehicles, as part of the consideration.
Yeah, so SUV with internal combustion engines
Right.
seems problematic.
Yeah.
So that was one idea.
Okay.
So another one, I participate in trash cleanups once or twice a month. So one was on Mount Lebanon Commercial District. I cleaned a couple storm gutters, and they seem like 60% covered with debris. And I'm kind of wondering, why isn't the municipality cleaning or our contractors cleaning? That seems like an issue. If the big storm comes, how's it gonna drain? Are we monitoring? Do we have proper contractors and contracts in place for that? That's number 2. And then number 3, another cleanup was in a newly created park on the border between Mount Lebanon and Castle Shannon. We got more than 20 giant bags of trash out. And you look at it like, what is this trash? Mostly recycling. And you start thinking, like, who is throwing all this recycling? And my hypothesis is that people don't actively throw it there. But what happens on a trash night, if it's windy, all the bins are falling and stuff just starts flying all around. And we're not in Switzerland where we get fined for not recycling correctly. But if recycling is flying all over the street and then ends up in a wooded area, that seems like the question.
So, the question is how do you keep it from flying in the first place?
Some education on how to deal with bins.
Yeah, we'll look into it, because I don't believe that the municipality, I don't want to speak for the commissioners, but to mandate, they're not going to buy us all new bins. And I'm not sure there'll be a mandate on this particular type of bin, but if nothing, at the very least, some education on it might be worthwhile.
We have trash education in the plan, that's what I was thinking. It's like how to keep your bin
You're on the
upright.
wrong committee, by the way. Just saying. Or you can be on 2 committees. Actually, there's nothing, I think, in our bylaws that prevents anybody from being on more than 1 committee, is there?
I'm sure I'm ready for that.
Can I add one sustainable ecological thing? I told Eric this is my main goal of being here, is the majority of the Mount Lebanon Public Works maintained, I don't know what you would call them, like traffic island areas. Every year they come, they plant impatiens. Every year the impatiens grow maybe a little bit, and then the impatiens die, and then it's left as just kind of a mud hole. I don't know why we're planting impatiens every year as opposed to native wildflowers.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, you do it once, then you have less maintenance, you're not buying new stuff. You're not,
Thank you.
you're not doing, it's reducing the actual need for public works to come out and plant impatiens every year.
Thank you.
I'll be hearing from the impatiens lobby, but.
They might be
Scary.
I don't know.
But yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
great.
Are we going from historic, down to the sustainability through, is there anything else on sustainability? If not, then staff liaison report.
Nothing to report really, just moving forward with some projects like Jess was mentioning as well. The Bradfordton Field, that is Sunset Hills Park, if anyone's confused by that. So Bradfordton Field is the field that's there, but it's kind of deemed as Sunset Hills Park, so I just want to make that clarification there. Because people were like, where's Bradfordton Field? It's like, it's Sunset Hills Park. So looking for some improvements there, but really just exploring some future grant opportunities coming up. There's a lot of grants through the state that are kind of, I would say they open in the summer, and the submission will be the fall. And then CIP season will be coming up here soon. We'll be opening that up and then moving forward with that. And yeah, CIP is a big one. That's always a summer project. That's August 1st. It goes to the commission, so we'll be looking forward to moving that on. So.
And CIP is community improvement.
That's the capital improvement program. Thank you. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So capital improvement program, for anyone who doesn't know, it's like I don't want to say a wish list document, but it puts long-term projects on the radar of the commission every 5 years. So these are projects that are over $125,000 and usually obviously take a little bit of a planning effort. So things will be entered by departments based off of need and kind of priority, but we kind of see the revolving projects, stormwater management, sidewalk, street reconstruction, those are kind of the reoccurring ones. Then we'll see projects that come up through Parks and Recreation. Eric had the Activate Uptown was one of the CIP projects. So yeah, that's kind of and feel free to reach out to me with any questions. I kind of coordinate that. So
Next is student liaison report. Aldo.
Hey. So the feedback I've received on basically any light pollution measures to reduce it from Public Works is really based on the fact that Mount Lebanon does not own its own streetlights. It's all controlled by Duquesne Light Company. However, the areas in which Mount Lebanon does control the streetlights, which is the commercial districts of Uptown and Beverly, and then in addition the area, bless you. Dark sky lighting will be prioritized to allow the township to reap the benefits that I've explained in past meetings. And fortunately, Uptown already has these dark sky lights. And so now really the improvements need to be done in like the main park area around like the rec center, and then also on Beverly. And in the years to come, I'm sure these lights will definitely be installed, especially they've already been installed in Washington. It's kind of just the next logical step. As for the whole rest of the township, I personally, not on behalf of the board at all or anything like that, I'm going to reach out to, I've been reaching out to Duquesne Light Company to see what options there are to having those lights changed to ones that would meet the sustainability requirements that I've been seeking to, get the light pollution reduction I want. And then additional note is big thanks to Lebo Green for letting me speak at the Earth Day event. It was really nice to get the message out to people, and it was really nice. That's pretty much it.
I would appreciate I think the board, all of us really appreciate the effort you're working on this area and the enthusiasm you're showing to this. It's very good. Now, are you finishing your junior year? Or?
I'm finishing my junior year, yes.
Okay, good. So, get me for one more year.
Yes.
So.
Well, actually, I'm trying to remember. When I was looking at the apply page online, I feel like I didn't see the Resiliency Board on there for some reason. It may be just something I just missed. I don't know. If I find it, or if there's still issues, I'll email one of you guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, Eric, particularly Eric,
Yes.
just to, because be the last thing for a computer glitch, what have you. That'd be bad, real bad. Anything else? Old business, we had liaisons to other advisory board. So discuss when RAB's fully appointed June workshop. So I think we did go over that earlier. Anything under new business? Announcement of the next meeting date, Wednesday, June 24th of 2026. Again, this will be the our regular board meeting, but also the meeting in which we, the expanded workshop to discuss major items. So we appreciate that. Nothing else, would they make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Good.